Today I'm doing a video where I'm talking about a new word like I've been doing before. And the word that I've chosen to talk about today has been, or will be, charisma or being charismatic. And I don't know much about the word charisma as it's not a fully developed topic in my brain yet. And I haven't learned much about it, but as I looked up the word charisma last night, I was drawn to videos of people who are famous in history that are filmed a lot. And one of the most charismatic people that kept popping up was actually Princess Diana. And if you guys know about Princess Diana, she was a princess of Wales, right? Wales in the 80s and 90s before she passed away in, I think, 1997. And what I learned from the videos talking about the charismatic vision that she had in her life was that she always had a presence in a room, no matter how big or how small she was, even though, of course, she was probably the biggest person in every room she walked in. She made the person who was the smallest person in that room feel just as heard as she was, and she was loudly spoken as she was able to talk in the media and talk to the world. But the people who really had the issues, like the leukemia patients or the AIDS patients, or the people with HIV and AIDS, I think those go together. She was able to sit there and listen to what they said and speak for their voice that they weren't able to speak up for themselves about, because when you're in that hospital, and especially when you're a kid and you have HIV and AIDS, especially back in the 90s, I know that they were dying quickly, and there's a stigma around them that if you can't even touch them back then because they thought that it would spread the virus. But with Princess Diana, she was being very charismatic, and she was actually going up and shaking the hands of everybody who had HIV and AIDS, and she'd go and talk to them, and she'd make them feel like she was only talking to them when you talk to somebody. Because if you look at the videos when she was talking to any person ever, she'd go up and give them their undivided attention and always be present in the conversation and ask great questions and bring a level of elicitation that would kind of bring out questions of people that they didn't even know they were answering, and she'd be able to find things out about them that she didn't even ask about, which is through elicitation, I guess that's what the word is. And she did really good at that. And I know that I'm not good at being charismatic yet in my life, but as I look up to Princess Diana lately through the past week or so, I've learned some of the techniques that she used. And I've also been looking into ways to be psychologically better in conversations. So I do have a spreadsheet that's ways to include people into conversations better and make small talk better in a way that make the small talk feel like it's a good conversation that's lasting, instead of hi, how are you, and then it cuts off. And I think that's just one of the ways to be a little bit more charismatic to people and make them feel heard, and also make yourself feel a little bit better about what you're doing when you're talking to people, because those conversations can really just ghost over you and fly by, and that could be a very important person in your life if you really just take more time with them and ask them better questions and make it seem like a real conversation instead of small talk, because there is a difference between small talk and conversations. And that's what I'm trying to get better at. And I don't know if you have anything to say about charisma, Mom, but that's basically what I have to say. So if you know anything.
Actually, you covered that topic so well. I mean, you did a lot better job than I could have ever done. When I think about charisma, I think about someone just like you, the good example that you gave, Princess Diana, someone who just has energy that is like contagious. It's good energy. They walk in the room, you immediately feel drawn. That person is open and almost happy, so to speak. Not necessarily, smiling, but you feel that they are open and eager for any conversation, including everyone in the conversation, opening themselves up so people can draw from them anything that they may have. They're completely open and available. So when I think of someone who's charismatic, they are able to draw people to them. They elicit very clear, open, fresh, and crisp energy. They're easy to talk to, easy to have a conversation with. They want everyone in the room to feel big, and they make sure to help pull that out of them. So they are often people that are, uh, I'm losing my words right now, but there are people who are able to pull things out of people, to pull conversation, to pull energy, to pull um, feelings and confidence from to bring it out of other people. They're able to pull that out of them. So the conversations or their presence isn't just about them, it's about everyone. So I didn't do as well as Justin did with explaining that, I'm sure, but charisma is something that I never think about, so I would need a little more time. But Justin did a great job.
That's not it.
Huh?
I'm seeing this recorded still. All right, you got 6 minutes. All right, so the last question is, I'll start. You think about this one. Just think about it when I answer it. But actually, I'll say the question, but you can answer it after me. But the question is, who is the most charismatic person that you've ever met in your life, whether you know them well or you haven't met them well? And I'll start with mine. The most charismatic person, and that's just thinking off the top of my head right now. I didn't rehearse this. This is all freestyle except the lookup stuff that I did like this week. But the most charismatic person that I've met in my life, it would surprisingly enough it'd be my next door neighbor George.
Oh, wow.
George is probably the most charismatic person that I've ever talked to,
I have to agree.
and I've met in my life, and it's kind of crazy that he's my age. He's just had his birthday, I think 2 days ago or something like that. I saw on Facebook, but George is the number one most charismatic person I've met in my life. Every room we walked into, he was always taking the first step. He was always meeting the people first, and he was always getting everybody involved in the conversation. I always felt like when I was a kid, especially in the 8th grade, 7th grade time, I was loud around the people that I was comfortable with, but I wasn't as loud and as confident around people that I wasn't. But as soon as I started hanging around George, I got much better at that. And now I had my friend Julian actually told me like 2 months ago that why are you going to say hi to people if you don't know them? And I think that's just a byproduct of me just not living with George, but being around George a lot during high school and middle school, where he would go in that room and be the first person to say hi to people. And that truly did rub off on me. And now I just kind of do that just by the willpower of myself and just subconsciously, I'm just doing that. And it really makes me build connections a little bit better. And the building connections also helps in the business world. And I was also able to do that in the summer as well, where I was able to talk to some of the people and I was able to gain more opportunities within the company. So when I was working, I was only supply chain and logistics, but I was talking with somebody in the company in another department, and I was able to actually do the data analysis for them, and that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't able to go to these events and talk. See, you just made me lose my train of thought, Mom.
Okay, go ahead.
I was able to go to, it was a convention that happened, a supply chain convention that happened at somewhere around June, and I was able to start talking to people. And with me talking to people first and being that intern and being literally the youngest person in that room by at least 8 years, nobody was even close to me in age in that room. I was able to go up to people and I was able to get just new roles in the summer that weren't even part of my job description. And I think that charisma came out from me, and I can say that came out from George. So do you have anybody, Mom?
Oh, man.
Somebody not George.
Well, I think that tops them all. I think George does have a lot of charisma. He has a lot of confidence. When he walks in the room, you can see the confidence in him. He does not meet a stranger. He is going to be the first person to speak and to talk and engage in conversation that's meaningful. And that's a huge part of charisma, is engaging in meaningful conversation, not just playing around what we call shuck and jive, not all about shucking and jiving. So I think that that is a great example because I've never met someone at his age that was as charismatic as George is. So I think that can take anybody um, a long way in their careers, in their lives, actually, in their personal lives as well. Charisma is definitely something that is an asset to your character.
For anybody else in your life, or that it?
That's it.
I think that's